Hello and welcome back, folks. This is the Sudamerican Master 4 playing tonight with Not Today taking on Generation X for game number 2 of the 2-game series. If Not Today win it, they will take first in the group. But if Generation X are able to tie up the series, then the group will be tied and a whole lot of shenanigans will happen for the playoffs. And joining me for those shenanigans, of course, is Android. How you feeling?
Hey, feeling pretty good. I'm managing to hold up through all this casting, but we are on to game two of Not Today versus Generation X, and I'm really excited to see what both teams turn out because this was a very even game one. Not Today, they got momentum. Generation X had some amazing holds, and Not Today, they just managed to carry that momentum a little bit further and take game one, but it is certainly not a team that you can tap out. Generation X have some strong players. We saw some clutch combinations, so let's see what the drafts are going to do.
Yeah, I think they're going to need to grab a little bit more team fight lockdown. They had some good team fight wombo combo, but they just were not able to follow up efficiently with the Sven alone. Leads us to wonder if those other picks that we had mentioned in the draft may have worked out a little bit better for them, but at the moment, we can't really comment on that now, as what's done is done. But we'll see if they can lock out those holes for this game number 2 and potentially edge themselves out a win, as Not Today, they've got the momentum. They've got the experience. We'll see if they can make this a quick 2-0. Generation, though, will start out with a first pick, and they'll grab the Rat Man himself, the Nature's Prophet.
I really like this pick here. I think Generation X, something they were missing was just someone to apply constant lane pressure, and Nature's Prophet is your guy. Not only can he go in and rat out some towers, rat out the lanes, but he can also TP into every team fight, so they've got that omnipresent lineup going on.
Yeah, and it just makes laning so much easier for Generation X. As Not Today, they grab the Invoker. So Generation, they need every little bit of help they can get just to help make sure that this lane stays, or this laning stage stays within their control. Because that's one thing that an Invoker can offer you, is just so much of lane control. And we saw in the last series how Generation X were good about banning this Invoker out, but this time they opt for the Earth Spirit, and that left him in the pool. Not Today will pick up their most picked hero, and of course one that they've got a whole lot of success with.
Alright, so Generation X, again, we talked about possible pickups here. We're going to see the Gyrocopter picked out before it was banned, because it was banned in the fourth slot by Not Today last time, so I I think that's a fantastic pickup here. Generation X also have the opportunity to grab the IO to combo with that if they'd like.
That'd be an interesting thing if they grabbed an IO here. I would not expect it at this point, but hey, I mean, we know that they can rock the IO Gyrocopter pretty well, and it tends to go decent with the Nature's Prophet. But IO also has a lot of trouble dealing in a game with an Invoker. The high burst damage coming out tends to blow up the little ball of light before you can really accomplish anything. So at this point, this Gyrocopter is an interesting pick because I think it means that they're going to try to fight very early and just get all up in this Invoker's face. But doing that opens you up to just getting ripped apart by the Invoker's combos. So we'll have to see exactly how Generation X follow up from this one, because potentially they can grab something like an Oracle to keep their Gyrocopter alive through the magical burst, but they're going to need to get something because Gyrocopter alone cannot stand up to the damage.
I completely agree. So we have supports here like an Oracle, a Winter Wyvern, a Dazzle, everyone with a sustainable heal. Who does Generation X want to pick up as their babysitter?
Uh, Again, I think it might be the Oracle. It tends to be one of the stronger pickups to grab, but it could also be that Dazzle, as you mentioned. Wouldn't be too terrible of an idea for them.
Alright, so not today. We're picking up the Spirit Breaker as most likely the offlaner, perhaps the position 4. Yeah, I think it's going to be the position 4, as they already have the Darkseer. Not today. How much use are they going to get out of that?
A lot. I think Spirit Breaker will offer them a little bit more constant lane presence, whereas Generation X, they do have the ability to move to different lanes and be a nuisance on multiple fronts. The Spirit Breaker is going to give Not Today some more flexibility. If they realize that something's going down in other lanes, they can put out an equal amount of pressure and just try to outmaneuver Generation X. I think The Disruptor pick is really good here for the Spirit Breaker alone. Maybe even the Invoker forces him to get something like a BKB if he wants to have the same effectiveness in the game. But for the moment, Disruptor tends to be one of the squishier supports who doesn't actually have a good reliable stun. So at the moment, he offers a little bit of teamfight control, but he is going to be prime target for the Spirit Breaker to just kind of Nether Strike and bash down.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Disruptor be really, really effective. If he goes in, if he gets the glimpse off mid-charge, Spirit Breaker's gonna be kind of salty. But again, you're right, the Generation X have no just right-click, point and stun. There is still a Vengeful Spirit in the pool if they want to grab that up.
I could see Vengeful Spirit doing pretty well. I mean, she doesn't have an entirely long duration stun. It's mostly for the damage. So at the moment, it could operate all right for both teams. But I think Generation X, they got to get a little bit heftier of a stunner. Maybe someone like a Sand King or an Earthshaker to draft to round about this draft. As not today, they take a page out of that book. They do go for the Lion, who tends to be a lot better of a stun locker and should be able to control the Gyrocopter very well in the fights, which opens up again to the Spirit Breaker and the Invoker just running him down. So I really like this pickup from Not Today, and I think Generation X also need to go for that hard stunner, or they're just going to lose out the extended teamfight game.
Yeah, I completely agree. So the only pick left for Not Today is most likely going to be their hard farmer position 1. What do they get the most use out of?
You know, at this point, the Templar Assassin takes a couple of heroes off the board, in my opinion. Like, running the Juggernaut would be super risky. Okay, you can't run the Juggernaut because it's taken out. I mean the Ursa, rather. Running the Ursa would be super risky against the Templar Assassin. Because Templar can tend to deal very well against the Ursa, be able to man-fight him if need be. And a low armor Ursa, especially in the days nowadays where he gets Mask of Madness often, will get blown to bits by the TA. So at the moment, I would imagine that the Ursa was one of the more contested picks for them. But they could go left field more. They could go, I guess Spectre isn't really left field, but they could go for her. A Tiny would be interesting. I think it would go pretty well with their stuns or their setup from the Darkseer, but it is going to be the Ember Spirit, which, you know, given that there's a Nature's Prophet, it helps for the counter push, but Ember against the Disruptor, that's not entirely a good matchup for the Ember.
Yeah, I was thinking more the Tiny just to use the Avalanche to burn down TA's Refraction and just smack her up, but I like the Ember Spirit. The burn damage has a similar thing going to it, but again, I think TA just, like you mentioned with the Disruptor, they can lock down the Ember fairly well. He's not going to be able to remnant out if they have the glimpse.
And even, like, just the Static Storm, the silence from that's fantastic. Ember, if he does not go BKB this game, he might have to go for an Orchid. I mean, not an Orchid, a Lincoln Sphere at the very least, because there's just too much to control him if he doesn't go for it. He might just get burned down, no pun intended. But Generation X, also a Templar Assassin does very well against the Ember Spirit, in my opinion. If they go up against each other in lane, it tends to be whoever gets the first kill will snowball out of the lane, but as the game progresses later, TA can 1 to 2 shot the Ember Spirit if he's not careful, and if he's not quick with a Remnant, or he gets initiated on by the Static Storm, then the TA will be able to blow him up in just a couple of seconds. And with Ember Spirit out of the fray, like, Not Today, their lineup is then almost entirely around Invoker, who will struggle a little bit to get damage off of the natural BKB carriers that are the Gyrocopter and the Templar Assassin.
Yeah, so Generation X, they're looking to pick up their secondary support here. Witch Doctor's still in the pool. I mean, there's always a great lineup for a Witch Doctor, but maybe not here. I think they still need that hardcore babysitter. An Oracle, I think, may be the play.
I still like the Oracle, as you said, but I don't think it would be that. Yeah, it's going to be the Enigma. Not to say I like the Enigma pick. I actually don't here. I think there's lots of ways they can cancel the black hole, and
super greedy.
Yeah, it's revolved around the idea that it's not about the black hole that makes this hero. It's about the ability to get a fast mechanism from the jungle, get a whole lot of gold. Because we saw it in the last game. they were very good at splitting up their heroes, farming, and getting an experience and gold lead, or at least an experience lead in the early game. And that's kind of one of those things that Enigma allows you to do, to get greedy and to go for that sort of style. But at the same time, I just don't know if he's going to be able to have any impact in the fight aside from being able to get maybe a mechanism off before all the eyes turn to him and he gets annihilated.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think G3X are putting a lot of eggs in Gyrocopter's basket, and the TA should be able to hold her own mid, but unless she gets some unbelievably great early pickoffs, it's going to be hard for her to completely come online. And again, I think G3X just go with a very greedy draft, whereas not today. They know they're going to win the Darkseer lane. They're probably going to win mid with the, or safe lane with the Ember Spirit. Invoker should be able to hold his own in the mid lane, so it's tough here for G3X.
Yeah, I want to say the Ember's going to win that lane, as you said, especially against the Nature's Prophet. Should be able to burn down those Triot creeps, but I've seen weirder things that I actually am not entirely sure. I mean, the Spirit Breaker probably won't stay up in that top lane for very long, and while that's happening, Dashka can go in and farm the jungle, and then when the Spirit Breaker's gone, he can just go in and harass the lane and maybe be able to break even from that. So I'm not entirely sure the Ember will straight out get some free farm from that lane, but I could be wrong. The Darkseer lane, though, as you said, yeah, he's going to be able to pull a lot of this out of it, but Lawling Blue, who I guess is their actual carry player, it's not going to be the Sven from the last game, but he should be able to deal with the Ion Shell coming in easily because of the ranged hero, but I don't think they're going to be able to kill this Darkseer, which, to your credit, is a very well-played lane for an off-lane Darkseer, so... but Leo style, yeah, he definitely has he actually has a really hard time against the Templar Assassin, but if he's able to get a couple points in Exhort, get those Forge Spirits up, then he should be able to start controlling the lane from that point on.
Alright, so we're going to be starting things off with what looks like a pretty clear rune split. I think Yamate is the only one that may probably be caught out of position, but he's holding on to his skill point. If he needs the surge, he'll pop it, and... yeah, I think this should be going the way of Templar Assassin. She's just hitting harder than the Darkseer, and Darkseer does not want to mess.
So, I don't know.
It's very angry pings.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Very upset
like,
about something.
Maybe they're just trying to next level ping out some... I don't know. I really don't. At the moment, though, Cafurtado is trying to be a little cheeky by the top rune spot, but Jericho is going to chase him well into lane. That Orb of Venom not going to help him close the distance. He's kind of a slow-moving little cow until he gets his boots and a couple points in Empowering Haste. But once that comes online, the Orb of Venom definitely should have a sizable impact. But he will go in and maybe try to scout out a potential creeps courier snipe. But it's very hard for a melee unit to do that. Meanwhile, the courier is going to come out for Leo style on the Invoker mid, but it won't be sniped.
Yeah, I mean, so far we're starting off with a relatively even momentum up top. There could be an Earth Spike coming out, and Dashka's in some trouble, taking a charge as well.
Yeah, the charge is actually coming from behind the Tier 1 tower, too. That's kind of interesting. You do not expect the Spirit Breaker to charge in from that direction, but that is going to be first blood, going the way of Jericho, and I'm eating my words a little bit with that Nature's Prophet. I definitely think he may have been better off going in to the jungle to start this one out, but he starts it out in lane, and will get punished pretty severely by the Spirit Breaker. However, everyone on Not Today up in this top lane are pretty low, which means Dashka comes right back into this and starts throwing out a harass like it's nobody's business. So bottom, looking blue, or lolling blue. Adequate name for his color, by the way. It's just going to try to farm up. Meanwhile, mid, K13 will have a little bit of extra effectiveness until 2 or 3 points in Exhort, but for right now, he does seem to be taking an equal amount of harass, which is kind of a problem. Meanwhile, top lane again, Dashka. Ah, boy, that's not something you want to happen.
I was watching that one go down. And at this point, I mean, Jericho has to go heal now, obviously, but there is no reason Dire can't keep doing that over and over and over again. They clearly have no trouble going in at the Tier 1 and taking him down. They've got the combo with the Earth Spike and the charge and just the raw damage from the Ember Spirit. But Nature's Prophet cannot get what he needs here. There's going to be a courier snipe from Nature's Prophet as
Yep.
Dashka's back and he's angry.
It's
And
revenge.
yeah, that is absolutely revenge. They go out and take it on the red horn, but it's still really bad here for Dashka. And now not only does he have to abandon the lane, he's going to give Vengus 2 assists and just a big chunk of XP to work with.
Yeah, and that just helps so much as, I mean, right now, you need all the experience you can get in the game. Right, K13 is having a fairly decent time in this mid lane, although he's not getting away with too much. He's breaking even on the CS, which is fantastic for him right now. That, of course, the refraction definitely helping him out with that, but all around the map, I mean, Jericho has been having a decent presence, of course, denying himself to creeps, but at the moment, that just helps him get a little bit of extra efficiency out of his time. A free trip back to the base can charge in from there, but for the moment, it looks like, yeah, we're going to go right back to jungling for Dashka, get him some farm, get him some experience. Bottom lane, Yamate will break even with the rest of G3X's. They're not quite able to harass him, and he gets his farm with the ion shells. So things going pretty slowly after those first couple of kills from Jericho, but maybe that changes as they charge in for K13 on the mid. They'll lock him down with the initial bash, but they can't seem to follow up with any more. It looks like they want to come in
Yamate.
with Dashka, but looks like it's not going to happen.
Darkseer down here may end up paying the final price. Is going to take a Thunderstrike, so one more last hit. He eats the Fairy Fire. Need one more hit from the Thunderstrike. He's going to get away. Nature's Prophet TP's in, goes in. What's with the uphill? Misses. Darkseer is still alive. 10 HP on that little purple dude, and that is a charge here onto Disruptor. They might be able to turn this and get a fight in favor of the Dire. Not today. Oh, they're spooked with the Iron Branch tree here for the Disruptor. No, oh my goodness. What a drawn out fight is Jericho. They end up paying the price for this. They're rotating in everyone. They've got all the resources, but a charge out from the Spirit Breaker. He cancels it as he hits the cliff. And Enigma will get the kill in the end of it all.
Doesn't cancel the charge. That was a well-placed Malefice from RCS.
Oh, I didn't notice that one. Alright, Enigma earned that kill.
Oh yeah, a point in Malefice. At this point, like, it's pretty natural for... Oh my god. It's pretty natural for the Enigma to go for this 1-3-1 build. Sometimes you'll see the more emphasis on the Midnight Pulse because the damage it does in team fights as well as the tree breaking ability. But it's good to have that stun, especially for cases like that. As Jericho will charge in now onto K13, but isn't able to find anything more than just a little bit of harass. Making them scared, but that's all it's going to be written for this mid lane as Generation X will get themselves a kill. At the meantime, though, 1-2. A whole lot of action happening so far for a pretty low turnout.
You're going to see Disruptor going here very aggressively onto Yamate, maybe looking for the Glimpse, but level 1 in Glimpse is not quite the range you need to drag back that Darkseer. Oh, we got a charge. It's happening. Disruptor is going to be the target once again. Can he kite this the way he kited it last time? Looks like, maybe not.
Well, they're going to come in this time with Nightmares. That helps out quite a bit with the Earth Spike. Coppertato is actually going to drop, but Lulling Blue is going to look to try to get a return kill. Now, they've got the Ion Shells doing a decent amount of damage, but Dashka comes in for some support, has a damage for Yamate, but the Ion Shells are cleaning him up. There is going to be a salve now coming in. Lulling Blue will look for a couple return kills, but still the Ion Shells are helping out. The Earth Spike through. Lulling Blue,
Black
in
hole.
comes Vengus, and they're able
Black
to break
hole.
him down.
We've got it.
I don't think he uses it. It's good that he didn't, as he had the Soul Ring to pop it, but he would have died to the damage over time from Vengus and the Ion Shell. So I'm happy he didn't use the Black Hole there, but at the same time, that was
I
a
wanted a
very
black
bad
hole.
fight for Not Today. Or for
I think
Generation X.
If they got the Black Hole, they could have secured the kill on the Darkseer, the Spirit Breaker, definitely the Lion, and that's worth the cooldown. You would have lost the Enigma most likely as well. Maybe the Black Hole wouldn't have gone to full channel, but I think it's at least worth it. I don't think they're going to need it in the next couple of minutes, and those kills are so desperately needed for G3X right now.
Desperately needed indeed. They need at least something to pull them out of this early game. It's just so much trouble to deal with as Jericho now comes in for some more, but this time he's caught himself in a bit of a pickle, or at least some trees, as he pops the Fairy Fire, and that might actually be enough to secure him out of there. Also Magic Wand, he's got another charge and gets away This time, there's no Malefice to stop him, or at least if there was, it was not quite within range. So, a very awkward charge for Jericho, and he gets away from it alive. Just the true testament to how G3X are just not quite able to handle him just yet.
The down bottom looks like Ember Spirit trying to tease out some sort of reaction from the gyrocopter. He's going deep. He's not afraid to dive towers. He has his buddy there, Darkseer. But for now, Radiant just kind of playing the passive farm game. If we continue to play the passive farm game, who comes out on top?
Not today, 100%. I mean, Ember Spirit
And they
is...
have the kill score.
Yeah, Ember Spirit is really scary with farm, but it's not just him at the moment. The farm going onto the Spirit Breaker is scary enough, but then you've got an Invoker who we haven't talked about all that much just yet, but he'll be rolling out in a Midas pretty soon, and everyone else, I mean, Darkseer just gets farmed by breathing, and Lion, you really don't want him getting a fast Blink Dagger, so for the mid-game, I think Not Today will benefit so much more from this. As a call down, Vengus is going to get black holed in, but they've got the vacuum to cancel, and now a Remnant out. Vengus is alive for now, but he's caught way behind enemy lines, and it looks like Not Today need to do a whole saving Private Ryan on him just to get him out alive. The Sprout will come through, but it looks like they've got the fight ready to go. As Vengus comes in, the Sleight of Fist is actually the Ion Shell to clean up both of them, as now they'll go in for Confrontado. The Glimpse back will take Vengus out of it. Courier. Okay, the Courier's alive. The Sprout will lock Jericho back. Now he might be in a bit of trouble as Vengus, he's back in the fray, looking to fight. He's also got the Ion Shell. There's no chance for a refraction, saving K13, but the Sunstrike is there anyway, as Confrontado dropping a retreat kinetic field to get him out alive. But man, was that a great fight for Not Today. Still, they will lose their Jericho, but it's well worth it considering they got a couple more kills.
Oh man, this is looking really not great here for G3X. You want to have that gyrocopter be able to get early kills, and instead he's got 2 deaths. One of the reasons you pick gyrocopter is because he can fight early, and now with the black hole down for another 120 seconds, he's feeling kind of flimsy. He's going to get charged here. They have vision on him. They're going in. There's going to be a line to start things off with an Earth Spike, and I think this might be it for gyrocopter once again. He's sent back to the fountain for a 3rd time.
He is super squishy right now. I mean, he doesn't have any items aside from that phase boot completed. So, at least, you know, I hope he gets the Wraith Band for that next fight for a little bit of extra tank and armor, but for the moment, Jericho going to get locked in by trees. He might see another death, but he's able to charge away. The Glimpse right back, though, says you ain't going anywhere, but can they finish it up? They can. There is going to be a vacuum, though, into the kinetic field, but which is on a different team, by the way, but there is going to be the Finger of Death to secure the kill. Nightmare will grab K13, a huge kill to get on that TA as the cores are dropping like flies on Generation X. They'll now turn it for Dashka, and they get him. Lawling Blue is a bit far behind the lines, but he will be able to walk away from this one. At the very least, they keep Gyro alive, but losing the TA there, that is huge. Once again, Not Today find the best possible pickoff, and this time they get away without losing really anyone.
Yeah, we're looking on the net worth chart, and Invoker and Ember Spirit are already top 2. Gyrocopter, he's really nowhere to be found at 7th on the chart, so that powerhouse that we thought would come online early, hold up, that is, we might have some more engagements breaking out.
That was kind of an interesting flight from Confrontado as Nightmare will get brought down, K13 getting a bit of revenge on him, as Jericho Glimpse back will now go in for the charge. They don't have a Malefice, so that charge only going into the mid creeps, though. 9 seconds before he can do that again, but he's got a surge almost as effective, as now he's able to walk away, but looks like they still want to fight. There is going to be the Nether Strike out onto Dashka. A Sunstrike's there. It actually connects into K13. The vacuum back, the charge to follow. Do they have any way to stop this engagement? They do with a kinetic field. Jericho ggets brought down. Yamate on the run. Has a soul ring and a surge, though, in 5 seconds, but it looks like he won't even need it, though. G3X have grouped up quite a bit. Nightmare is in, but they glimpse him right back to the fountain.
Yeah, so back to what I was saying a while back. Gyrocopter was picked up because he's an early game powerhouse. He can go in, he can have kills, he can get farm, but he is not living up to any of that. So it's all going to be on TA's shoulders, and those shoulders just aren't as broad and beefy as a late game Ember Spirit.
I mean, they're great around the 15-minute mark if she has a good lane. But now it's going to be delayed to about the 18-minute where it is she will get something like a Desolator completed. Might be a bit earlier depending on how the next couple of fights go, but that's not really going to be enough as Jericho, another charge, this time on Dashka. He's got a bash to follow up, but now getting sprouted in buys a little bit of time. He's on the run. Courier is going to be fine. There, it looks like K13 wants a kill. The body block from the creeps, but yeah, Jericho, he's alive and kicking, is able to charge out right out of there.
Meanwhile, Sajuro in the Roche Pit, trying to take this one solo. He's using the Forge Spirits pretty well. He's going to get a good amount of damage on it, but does he need some buddies in here to help him?
He might be fine. I mean, typically Invokers practice this sort of thing with the level 1 Roche, and he gets another summon as Nightmare. He'll finger down Capertado. A nice kill for him to get solo as Leo style, yeah, he gets this Roshan. The solo experience, by the way, take a look at his levels. He's level 11. Getting past that threshold is so hard for most heroes. Now he's level 12. I mean, that is huge for him to get. As Dashka will also go down. Yamate is now chasing in. This time he wants RZS, but the Black Hole, immediate turnaround, and Not will lose 2 for that over-aggressive play. Though it is only Jericho and Yamate, it still is a lot of gold to get. As it looks like, yeah, for those 2 kills, just the raw bounty alone was worth 817 gold. Not to mention the assist that went to everyone.
Yeah, so we are going to have Nightmare here, paying the price for his team's greed, and he's going to get trapped in by Triad and slapped down. He does consume his wand charges, and he's going to get glimpsed back into the fray of things. He wants to run, but he can't hide. Can we talk about how stupid those Triad cosmetics look?
Wow. No, they look great. Are you joking? Have you ever seen the big one with the Aghanim Scepter? It is
of this
a
particular
mess.
cosmetic?
Yeah.
Oh god. Spirit Breaker charging in. Speaking of messes, looks like it's trying to connect here on the bottom lane, and I don't think they want to commit this charge all the way onto Disruptor, so Spirit Breaker just going to be sitting here waiting for death as the neutrals slap on him.
The fabled cancel charge in the middle of trees. He can TP away if he wants, but I think he's waiting just in case.
He's got the charge.
Yeah, definitely just in case he needs to, but... Or in case he can find someone out from just the trees. Looks like, though, no one on his team wants to follow up as he gets down to the bottom lane and out to 100% safety. We're 14 and a half minutes into this game, though, and it's looking like neither team is really trying to pressure as much. I mean, not today. They've got Leo Style, who's doing pretty effective on this Invoker, but aside from him, where's the Ember
charge.
Spirit? Oh, actually, yeah.
The Spirit Breaker is an animal.
And he finds the Lulling Blue in the meantime. The Sunstrike will come. They have, I think the Black Hole was used recently, so they will not have that, though Jericho gets brought down from the Midnight Pulse and called down alone. So, Lulling Blue gets away just barely alive. However, Yamate will pop the Surge, takes a bit of damage coming out from K13, who has the Desolator, by the way, a lot earlier than I thought she would get it, as a Static Storm locking Yamate in. Looks like he should drop here. Plenty of damage coming out his way. Vengus, though, on the run. He has a Malefice stunning him up, but he will be able to get away alive.
So that was a really, really good fight for G3X. The call down was absolutely on point. They commit the Static Storm there, but I think that was entirely worth it to get the extra kill on Yamate. Is this G3X hitting their power spike, or was that kind of a misplay by Not Today turned into something positive for the Radiant?
I mean, that's definitely a power spike. K13, we talked about that Desolator giving him a whole lot more room to work with, and we see it just there. He was able to chunk away a lot of Not Today's HP with every right click, not to mention the Meld Strikes, which were brutal to say the least. But I think they have to still be careful, because in that fight, it didn't really seem like Leo Style was participating, even though he does have the Aegis Immortality. So it's a lot can be said about the fact that it was kind of an incomplete Not Today lineup. Now we'll see a full fight with all of the important heroes from Not Today, and we'll see how differently it goes.
Alright, so we've got Radiant focusing all their attention here in the mid lane, but Fire are doing a great job taking advantage of the fact that they've got space. We've got Vengus wailing on this tower. He has his Battle Fury, he's got his PMS, he's got his boots. What's his next big item coming out here?
I'm surprised he actually didn't go for Boots of Travel, but if I were to take a guess, he would definitely go in for the crits here. Like, The Ember Spirit in me says maybe he's thinking about that item that helps him get away from a bad situation like a BKB or a Lincoln Sphere. But I definitely think the crits are on his mind. So he's going to work out whether he wants damage or he feels threatened with his life. But for the moment, we'll see Nightmare kind of demolish Generation X as Leo Style comes in from the backlines and gets both kills. A fantastic amount of damage coming out from the finger and then the meatball.
Yeah, this Lion doing everything he possibly can to help out his teammates. His KD is one of the best in the game, 4, 3, and 7. Kill participation has been really, really high from him, but again, if the rest of his team is just not going for the smart pickoffs, maybe that's all he can do.
Yeah, meanwhile, we've got Not Today coming in. They're coming where the tier 2 used to be, and it looks like they want to bring down Dashka, but they won't have vision of him just yet, as he is able to TP himself away. So Not Today, they can definitely try and be a bit aggressive across the map here, and it looks like they've already started doing so, but at the moment, it's very hard to find kills on G3X when they've got a black hole ready. So they've got to really be careful and pick and choose their engagements well. Maybe they don't have to be playing this passive, but every single time spent farming is more time for Leo Style to get out of control and unkillable.
Did you see that blink? Unreal. Disjoints the meld strike coming out from the TA. He wanted to go in for the D ward here. He gets a bunch of uphill misses, but luckily the sentry ends up falling anyway. He was almost just punished by 3 dire heroes, or radiant heroes, rotating together. Instead, they're going to opt to smoke up and walk in the top.
Thought you couldn't miss against wards anymore.
Well, he was going in. He does get the D ward on the observer, but was going in trying to get the sentry as well, but then blinked away. Saved his life.
Gotcha. So we're moving in. Jericho. What is this charge? They want more, but looks like a Boots of Travel attempt will be canceled. Jericho now paying for this one. He gets glimpsed back all the way in the back of the fight, but that suits Leo Style very well as they're able to get a vacuum wall right in the middle of the meatball. G3X is falling apart, but Yamate, he might drop. No, he is able to stay alive. Cavertado is within the trees as they are able to get a return kill out onto Nightmare, but will it be enough? Call down locks in Leo Style. Getting a kill here would be amazing if they can secure it. Vengus also needs to not die, but he will drop to the melt strike. A glimpse back will lock Leo Style in a little bit further, but looks like they're not going to be able to actually bring him down. Yamate, he's there, vacuum in. He might actually get K13, but the gyrocopter illusion dies a bit too fast, and the Sunstrike will not go through. Refraction is off the mark anyway. A brilliant attempt at a fight from Not Today, but it looked like it wasn't quite enough as Generation X are able to turn it around.
I think the big thing in that fight was Jericho goes in with a charge, starts things off, but then the Boots of Travel was cancelled by, I believe, the Invoker. That was a huge thing. If they had the Invoker there at the start of the fight, they could have gotten a really nice tornado, meatball, whatever they wanted to get, but it just wasn't the start they wanted. It looked like Jericho just going with a kamikaze attempt, and the rest of his team ended up bailing him out eventually, but if they'd had a more solid start, it would have been a lot cleaner.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Not Today, though, are going to immediately respond to that fight with a double Blink Dagger pickup from both Vengeance and Leo Style. What do you think about this item, at the very least, on both of these heroes?
I think it's not bad whatsoever. I think the Blink on the Invoker is a bit quirky to me. I'd rather see him get the Force Staff. I think that's going to be more useful for him in the long run. But, you know, if he needs that Blink for mobility, better for him to have it than not have it and wish he had.
Exactly, and in that last team fight, it definitely would have gone way different if he had had it too. Immediately able to directly follow up on the vacuum instead of try from a long-range meatball, which it did the damage it needed to do, but I definitely think they would have wished they had some more, which being right on target would have offered them. So for right now, it's looking like it does offer Not Today a lot more mobility, especially on Vengus, able to react a bit better to a possible engagement to try to bring down his split pushing, but again, at the moment, it just doesn't seem like we're trying to find pickoffs actively. Not Today. When they aren't going in for massive YOLO team fights like that, they are happy to just try to choke out Generation X. Meanwhile, Generation X just do not seem to be the ones to want to fight into Not Today. However, they smoke up. Maybe that changes, but so far they're hanging really far back with that one.
Yeah, I mean, G3X, they have a lineup that should be hunting constantly. I mean, you've got the Nature's Prophet, you've got the Gyrocopter, you've got the Black Hole on the Enigma up and ready to go. But yet, it seems like G3X are scared of every single engage. They've got to take the front lines at some point.
And they are going to have to do that very quickly, too, as it looks like we've got a charge coming out from Jericho. His target is going to be Dashka on the bottom lane. I imagine Leo Style is keeping his eye down there to go for the Boots of Travel in, but it looks like Dashka will TP away, leading not today to maybe think that there was a ward to scout him out, but there was no vision. That was just a lucky retreat coming out from the Nature's Prophet. As the Sunstrike's out, maybe a scouting strike as they go in for the Roche Pit. This is a DD for Leo Style, so they should be able to take this Roche quickly. Now, if Generation X go and respond to it, maybe things go very differently, but it doesn't even look like they know it's going on. Still, not today have to be incredibly mindful of the position of Generation X.
Invoker, what does he drop here? Just get rid of the drums with the one charge is left?
Probably. I mean,
He's pretty slotted. I don't think you want to drop your Midas. Maybe Vengus gets it. He does have that free slot. So this is going to be an Ember picking up the Aegis. I think that's the smarter play. Is, the Invoker comes back. If he's, out of spells, has cooldowns, then what's he supposed to do? He doesn't have that Aghanim Scepter just yet.
but he will have it soon. I mean, the Aghanim Scepter is going to be coming out. Really, it doesn't usually go past this timing for it, but speaking of Ags, I kind of would like to see Dashka maybe start to build into one. He is going to be going for that Orchid, which is great against the Ember Spirit. Because, you go in to initiate with an Orchid of Malevolence, and he is just going to be able to blink away from that. But if you can initiate with some damage, you should be able to get that kill. In the meantime, though, the item timings are a bit late. The Orchid is way late, considering it's 23 minutes. He still doesn't have it. K13's only got the Desolator and Blink Dagger when he really should have at least a decent leeway.
He has 4k gold.
Okay, yeah, that helps, but where is he going to build in with that 4k gold? Not entirely. He needs a lot more than just one mid-game item. Yeah, the BKB would be a great use of that gold right now. I definitely agree, and
hey, I called it.
Looks like, yeah, it will be the BKB. He does need a little bit more, but at the moment that'll help. We're going to see, RZS doesn't stand a chance against the Yule's combo. For those who aren't aware, Yule Scepter, immediate Sunstrike Meatball, and then Deafening Blast is almost a guaranteed kill on every single hero at 24 minutes into the game. So, and it's a pretty low cooldown spell too.
He's unloading all his mana, so now he's going to be useless in this fight that's breaking out down in the bottom, where K13 gets himself a monster kill streak. They are going to be able to pick up Jericho as well. He's stuck in the trees, and Vengus goes in, but that's a static storm going through. There's a gem on the ground. Vengus drops the Aegis. I think they can punish him a second time. Invoker picks up the Ags. He's going to be trying to Remnant out of there, but goes in for the Sleight of Fist first, and may end up getting punished. He hops out, and Yamate might be the sacrificial lamb. Nice vacuum wall. It's going to be the damage to follow up. As Deafening Blast. They're going to get the Mega Kill streak, or the Godlike streak, off of the Templar Assassin. That's
huge for Leo Style to get it, too. He's 5-0-3 right now on this Invoker. Comes through, gets a nice snipe off of the kill. And now he's there to push. He's got a whole lot of damage via Alacrity. He's got a couple of Forge Spirits at his ready. And they also have a couple of Wall of Replica units to help them out with this push that are alive for a decently long time. They go right up to this high ground and they will offer a little bit of damage. However, the call down will clean them up. Leo Styles in though. He's got his full combo, but not enough time to spend it. However, he still will get a decent amount of damage and force the BKB off, which are two very huge objectives for him to hit on that one. So
Radiant are
not
missing
upset
some
about
trees.
That. What was that?
Where did they all go? The Radiant jungle's really missing some trees. Feels really naked. There they go.
Enigma.
Yeah, it's certainly some stuff going down. So now Radiant, they're left to defend their base. There is no high ground push just yet. They have to clear some creeps. How does G3X get themselves back in this? Because they're not going to win the game from inside their base. They need to farm the Gyro. He only has a BKB, and that's it.
He still is able to defend the high ground pretty well. The BKB offers him a little bit of tank, but it's going to be off the back of just being able to turtle. They can win if the turtling goes on another 30 or so minutes. Otherwise, they get picked off outside their base, and not today have the type of lineup that can end the game in a very small amount of time. I see a whole lot dropped in. Leads me to believe they tried to bring down Ember, but yeah. A little bit
He
too
is
quick.
just cheeky. He hopped back to his remnant, and that's going to be the static storm down for. I mean, there's no ag, so it's going to be a 75-second cooldown. We've got gems. Jericho's gem, the Spirit Breaker's gem, is picked up by the Disruptor, but Disruptor has his own, so he's just walking around holding on to some shiny things.
Yeah, and that gem was dropped by Jericho in that last fight. So having it picked up by Cafertado, and having, I guess actually the one in the stash is probably the one that was dropped by Jericho, but
Yeah.
still having the ability to have the full ward advantage, also being able to just de-ward everything on the Dire side is huge, because even if they lose that gem, they still got another one that they can operate with. So their entire side of the map should remain vision free, as not today. Well, I mean, vision free is one thing, but not today free is another thing, and it looks like that's going to be a little bit harder of a thing to accomplish.
Vengus completely buys out and goes Scotty here. Definitely not going for the crit. When I saw him with like 6k gold in his inventory, I was thinking maybe we're seeing a rapier early, but what do you think of the Scotty here? Do you think the fire and ice are going to work together in his favor?
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about what his next item was going to be, I didn't think he would take a detour to the Blink Dagger, but we said he's thinking about whether he wants to go with that defensive item or he wants to straight up go for the damage. And I like what he's doing, because the Scotty is going to allow him to take more than one hit from the Templar Assassin before he goes down. And now that he doesn't have an Aegis Immortality, that's going to be super important coming into the next fight. Like, he's got to be able to survive an initiation and come out swinging on the back end. And without a Scotty, he just can't do that. So you can have all the hit wonder damage in the world, but if you can't stay alive to get that one hit off, then it's just not worth it. So the Scotty, maybe not as good in my opinion as something like a BKB, but really, you don't ever want to have to buy a BKB on an Ember Spirit, so I can see his reasoning for not doing that.
Alright, so the Radiant, they're grouping up, moving together. Dashka going in, farming the enemy jungle, trying to finish off that Orchid, but again, that's going to be his first real item on top of drums, and we're 30 minutes into the game. It just seems like Nature's Prophet's not having that constant pressure impact that he wanted.
Well, yeah, and that comes back to the lane he had. I mean, he died twice immediately in the lane, and then after the courier snipe just kept on getting picked. So even though he was able to go into the jungle really quickly, it seemed every single time Jericho was right there and ready to slow him down or stop him entirely. So was a really bad laning stage for him, and what that results in happening is that he can't just go and farm. He's got to move with his team, because if he farms his jungle, there's a high chance that there is a ward scouting him out, and Jericho as well as Leo Style will just go on to him. If he tries to split push a lane, Leo Style will TP to that lane and kill him. If he tries to not do that, well, we end up where we're at right now, where he just doesn't have any items. So he will get close to the Orchid of Malevolence. We'll see it come up in the next minute or so, and that's going to help out a lot. But it's definitely not going to have as massive a game impact as it would have had if he had bought it 10 minutes or so ago.
Alright, so just looking at the overall momentum of things, we've got Not Today with almost a 20,000 XP lead, just about a 20,000 net worth lead as well. G3X, you've talked about ways we can get back in this, but how feasible is it? Oh god, up top, Dashka's playing Ring Around the Rosie. He's gonna get charged here. I don't think the Nature's Prophet gets out. He's got the teleport in 3 seconds. He's just going in for it, but he's gonna get bashed out of the TP. There's the Sunstrike to follow up, and that's gonna be a kill for the Invoker.
You saw the Nether Strike being casted and stopped, almost as if Jericho was laughing at his face as he knew the impending doom. But at the moment, yeah, Dashka, we talked about that. If he ever tries to farm anywhere, they're going to go after him and they're going to bring him down. And now, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, as he is short of that Orchid of Malevolence by quite a bit more gold than he was a couple minutes ago. He has now 150 gold, where he had about 400 at 29.5 minutes. So Orchid being delayed considerably long, giving Not Today more time to just press their advantage across the map, wait for the next Roshan, and then easily take the fight afterwards. But a very long Rosh timer, very near max random time with 2 minutes 40 seconds.
Radiant, they're all grouped up with the exception of the Nature's Prophet. They've got to find something here. They want to go onto Vengus, but do they have the lockdown it's going to take?
They needed a blink on someone, on anyone with a stun to get that kill, but they don't
And now
have
just
it.
all that wasted time from the Radiant. They are feeling the hurt. They've got to get Gyro farming. Yeah, he'll take a wave here, but he is flimsy on the net worth chart as best. He's sitting just barely above the Lion, the position for support on the Radiant.
Yeah, now Not Today will close in. They're charging down onto Mr. Caffertato, but with the TP back to base, that will stop. However, another strike. No, they won't go for Lolling Blue. It's looking like right now, I mean, 31, 32 minutes in, our graphs are telling a story that I don't think Generation X want to hear, but we're 20,000 gold an advantage for Not Today, 25,000 experience. I mean, this Invoker is so damn far ahead in both those respects, but Vengus has also done a fantastic job at keeping himself ahead. I mean, the next highest in experience is K13, who is 2 levels back. I mean, this is abysmal as far as positioning goes for a Generation X, and really turtling is the only thing they can entirely do to win this game, but even then, they're going to struggle. With a attempt on the bottom lane, Jericho will see it end rather quick, but in comes Leo Style with a deafening blast and will not connect on the Lolling Blue with that BKB cast. Jericho will go down. So Generation X, they hold for another 45 seconds, but remember, Roshan will be back up in that time, and I imagine Not Today will wait for that. Oh yeah, Dashka once again is dead. I mean, what does he even do about this? He did end up having enough gold to buy the Orchid of Malevolence, so he will have it completed 33 minutes in, but still down and out.
He has 10 deaths. It feels like he spent more time in the fountain than outside of it. He needs to be applying lane pressure, and he's hopping into the jungle to try to finish, that item, but the only tower down on the side of the Dire is the tier 1. Nature's Prophet needs to constantly be forcing rotations from Not Today, and the only rotations they're forcing are securing his death every single time.
Right. It's not a great position for a Nature's Prophet to be in. You want, as a hero, you want to be able to split push. But we talked about the fact that he can't split push in this game. There is nothing that he can do to avoid having perfect vision being placed on him by the Spirit Breaker, and then Leo style TPing in and just annihilating him. So at the moment, now with the Orchid, he at least might be able to survive Leo style, but with Jericho coming in, it makes it that much harder to end up actually completing that TP out of there. As looks like Not Today will put up a bit of a fight on the top lane. Roshan's back, but it doesn't seem like they want it just yet. They're instead buffing themselves up and starting to siege.
And if you look at the lineup, G3X has really nice high ground defense. They've got the Kinetic Field, they've got the Static Storm, they've got the Black Hole, they've got the Call Down. But did Not Today just take the pick off
This could
win
be a
the fight.
huge kill on Lolling Blue. They actually hit him with the EMP. Caffertato gets dropped. Jericho dropping pretty low as well. But the vacuum wall behind the tier 3 tower, there's no follow-up to it just yet, as Yamate will try to back off. It looks like he will be able to. Leo style dropping a whole lot onto K13, who may drop here. They've got the Sunstrike. They're hitting him with an Earth Spike, but the BKB will stop that from coming through. Now in comes Lolling Blue once again trying to fight, but Vengus is out and alive. The Orchid doing absolutely jack all, as Leo Styles now up on the high ground with the Alacrity, putting a lot of hurt on this tier 3 tower, and he will drop it from the low ground, and maybe they even try to fight for more. Dashka dropping pretty low. Looks like he will drop here as the Orchid's now onto Vengus, but Vengus is in no trouble of going down. There still is no BKB right now to spend on K13. Lolling Blue has his, and he will pop it to go in for this kill. As K13, he gets Nightmare, but what else can he get? Static Storm's down, Leo style. A self-Yules to try to preserve his life, but he is locked in to the Lion's Den, and you can hear it roar from all the way over here as they bring him down. Finally, 1,000 gold going the way of Generation X for that kill, and they do so while still holding on to their top Rex.
Are you having crazy lag, or is that just me?
What do you mean?
The watching the game it's like PowerPoint for me.
Oh, the Hitbox game? Hitbox stream?
No, the actual client.
Oh, no, the client's fine for me.
Alright, I am having all sorts of lag, but hopefully that's not too much of an issue.
Yeah, I know the Hitbox stream is having a little bit of issues, but they should be resolved right about now. Oh, K13, he can't die, but the Black Hole catches 3. Can they follow up, though? In comes Lolling Blue. The wall is down, but K13, the damage is done. He is going to be in the fountain, but has buyback if he needs to spend it. Looks like he won't for now. Lulling Blue goes to the TP. Can they cancel it? They can't just yet, so Lulling Blue will get away. It was a fantastic black hole, but there just was not enough damage to make it worthwhile.
What a crazy engage going on right there, and they get exactly what they need to get, and oh my god, I gotta reconnect to this game. I'm having some trouble seeing what's going on.
South American servers, man. I don't know why I'm not having issues, but
it's like worse than PowerPoint. Everyone's just kind of standing in place, treading water.
Yeah, go ahead and reconnect if need be. I'll keep steady tabs on the action. I mean, for the most part, we're looking at a game where not today. At this point, you want to say it's inevitable that they'll win, but so far, Generation X's turtle has proved to be somewhat effective, and given that we're still close to 20,000 advantage, and not today, you still want to say this game is pretty much over, but, I mean, Rax has not gone down, even though they have been threatened a little bit. It's becoming really, it's becoming a very high-pressure situation for Not Today. They've got to get that Rax pretty soon, and maybe with this Aegis Immortality, they can get it and their next push. It's going to be tough, though. It really is going to be a struggle to get up on that high ground, but as far as buybacks go, we do have one on the Templar Assassin. We do have one on the Gyrocopter, so it's looking like pushing the high ground is going to come down to being able to... Actually, we've got a buyback on everyone on the Radiant side. Okay, now Gyrocopter buying out, but I imagine he'll farm up enough to get through that. But they're going to have to fight through 2 Generation X teams to be able to win this game. And even with an Aegis and Cheese, that is always very difficult.
Alright, I have loaded back in the game,
Nice.
and no one is moving still, so you might have to take the action here.
Oh, I mean, it's no problem for me. Well, can you analyze a little bit from the PowerPoint? I mean, presentations are usually pretty good.
I can see items. I am being dropped from the server now. I got my red numbers in the corner.
Oh boy.
Yep, out I go.
All right.
Oh,
well,
no.
Analyze from the outside looking in. Like, what do you think is happening right now?
Alright, here we go. We're going onto the watch tab, looking at the tournaments. We're gonna cast from the
2 minutes behind me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. Well, while you're doing that, the game might already be over as Vengus, he pushes up onto the high ground. Now he does have the Aegis Immortality. It gets popped almost immediately. K13, though, that BKB is going to wear soon very quickly. The Static Storm locking Vengus in, but in comes Leo Style. The huge deafening blast. The black hole, though, it will lock only Leo Style in, but the BKB keeps it rolling. Leo Style now self-fuels up, does not have the cheese, so he can't go down here. Does have buyback if he has to spend it, but it looks like he will be able to walk himself away. Yamate's still up on the high ground. Vengus trying to do what he can with the Sleight of Fist. Another tornado through, and still Leo Style doing the damage, but he hasn't brought anyone down aside from the Enigma. Finally, K13 will drop, but Lulling Blue finds himself a killing spree. Now man fighting Leo Style gets the double. Drops, though, to the Forge Spirits. They have to buy back if they want to preserve their racks, but they do. K13 will buy back. Wait a second. Where was that? What happened? Why is...
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm scared.
There... Okay. Gyrocopter apparently had a rapier. And it dropped. But the Generation X were able to recover that rapier and drop it back into their base. Though, Vengus is going to bring down those racks, just kind of whacking at them while K13 is a little preoccupied elsewhere. So it looks like the melee racks will finally go down. No, K13 comes in. He's going to go after Vengus. Another BKB pop with the Sleight of Fist. Vengus has to rem himself back, though, because he's taking a little bit too much damage with all that minus armor. Wow. All right. So only the
really
ranged
nice
racks
loading
go
screen
down.
going
Nice.
Here.
What loading screen is it?
Skywrath Mage. Take a wild guess, yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have recognized that.
So, Gyrocopter has a rapier. Whose hands is it in now?
It's still Gyrocopters.
Yay! Is that what he needs to be able to fight, or is it going to be too much of a flight risk every single time?
They held the game because of that rapier. Like, they
really
would have
wanna load
straight
in.
lost the game right there if they didn't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You actually have no idea what's going on
I
aside from
am
that.
I am looking at a beautiful Skywrath Mage,
I'm
but
like,
I got no clue what the map looks like.
give me some insight into, some other items that are on this map. But yeah, you have absolutely no clue because South American servers are not agreeing with you right now.
I've been booted 2 times now, so I
You
think
are
maybe.
effectively the audience member right now that gets to
You know,
be on
I can
stream.
actually let me stop trying to reconnect to the lobby and just watch from the ticket because that's gonna work.
Yeah, you're just gonna be 2 minutes behind. So
So you're gonna be screaming your head off about something, and 2 minutes later I'll go wow. But yeah, no, for now, I think I have to reboot Dota because we are now frozen. Yay!
we are frozen now. Oh man,
Wait,
Disney's gonna sue us. All right, Sunstrike and Dashka. Dashka just got halved by a Sunstrike. I mean, what do you even do about that at this point? I guess it doesn't really matter. He's been
Crimson
a
Guard.
non-effort, or a non-issue as far as his items go and his ability to impact a team fight goes. All he is pretty much a walking orchid right now. But with a Helm of the Dominator now completed by the Gyrocopter, that's going to help him sustain throughout the team fight. He just can't lose that Aegis anymore. He's got a buyback if need be. But Vengus is pushed up to the high ground now, going after that Rax. The Orchid will come out, but it'll immediately blink to retreat. RZS, he's got a black hole at the ready, but it looks like the fight's going to start. The vacuum back in, and comes RZS. He catches 3. No, he catches 4, but they have no follow-up. It looks like Leo Style now is going to try to unleash, but he's just not doing any damage. He is able to get away alive, though. As, the rapier, it hits the deck. Vengus, does he drop anything for it? No, they're just watching it. They're watching it on the ground. Who's going to drop it now? Vengus, come on, man. Get it. Drops his blink, picks up the rapier, and as soon as he does, Deshka will call the GG at well played. I didn't even know. 43 minutes into this game right now. That was an incredible series of events. I couldn't have asked for a better game, and I really wish you were able to share that one.
I mean, I got to look at Skywrath Mage loading screen for a while, so that was a positive. But the way you were talking about those fights going down, there was seriously some action going. I have to watch the stream with a 2-minute delay now to see what you're screaming about. But we've got rapiers in the game, so that means it's a great game of Dota. But it is going to go 2-0 in favor of Not Today. Do you think that was a draft win or just out-executed?
Out-executed both games, I feel. I mean, Generation X, they had some fantastic plays. They had some decent drafts, but at the end of the day, it just came out to Not Today. They had more experience. They executed a little bit better at the end of every team fight. Their individual skill was just a little bit higher, and they were able to end up rocking out a 2-0 victory. So I got to give Generation X a lot of credit here. Even though they lose the series, they will finish second in the group and go on with that prestigious little tag, even though I think they were an open qualifier team, right? So
Yeah, I do believe they were an open qualifier team, but they certainly gave some of our qualified teams a run for their money.
they did indeed. So guys, on that note, I got to thank you all so much for joining us for these 2 games. They've been a blast, but not today. We'll close it out with 2 straight victories. So Android has been joining me on the co-caster mic. Even though you didn't get a chance to take part in that last couple bits of the game, let us know where they can find you so they can watch you actually take part in the entire game.
Alright, I'm going to be doing a lot of casting coming up on my Twitch channel. Same as my Twitter handle, that's going to be at Android, ANNEEDROID. And if you like Facebook more than Twitter for some reason, then go ahead follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/AnnieCasts.
And go do that. She's rocking out some interesting stuff on that channel, so go ahead and check it out and participate. Guys, thank you so much again. I'm Chicago Ted at TedCast on Twitter. Joining us also was Latrodectus on stats, all the way from the Standard Deviant stats. Always a pleasure working with those guys. So, at the end of the day, the dust will settle. Not today, win. And we will be signing off. We will catch you all next time.